I'm from Combined. Combined is a supplemental insurance. Supplemental policy is basically has two parts. There's a hospital end and there's a disability end. Now, for the sake of time for today, we're really going to concentrate on the hospital end. We can always go back into the disability part later. In the hospital end, there's actually three parts of that. There's accident, sickness, and there's a cancer policy. Okay? Now, provided you, well, basically it's going to work like this. If there's an emergency, if you get hurt, if you get sick, you're going to get paid. All right? Now, the accident policy is accident only. It will cover you for any accident, on the job, off the job, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere in the world. Provided you qualify for sickness coverage, that's going to cover you for any accident or any sickness. So let's get that out of the way right now, okay? In the past 5 years, have you had any advice or treatment for heart disease?
No.
Stroke?
No.
Diabetes?
No.
God forbid you don't have cancer, do you?
No.
Anybody in your family like that?
No.
So let's talk about your family right now. You married?
No.
Okay. Any kids you want to admit to?
Not at this time.
All right, so it's just you, right?
It's going to be me.
All right, fine and dandy. Now, the way I like to describe it is this. Now, your health insurance is going to pay the hospitals. Your health insurance is going to pay the doctors. But if you're not working because you get hurt or if you get sick, who pays you? Nobody, really, all right? You might have some sick time. You might have some accrued time. But the bottom line is, if you get hurt and you get sick, you're going to need all the money you can have and then some. Isn't that right?
That is true.
All right, the way I like to describe it is this. This is good. This is the accident policy. This is better. This is the accident and sickness policy. And what's best is to have them both, because if you get hurt, you double dip. You get paid on both. Okay? So let me ask you another question before we get this out of the way. You have health insurance, right?
Yes.
What do you pay a month for that right now?
Oh, something like $350.
Okay, well that's good. That's very, very good. All right. This health insurance that you have has deductibles, right?
Some.
Has
yeah.
co-payments.
Yep.
It has an annual fee that you're gonna have to pay every month.
Absolutely.
I know mine, right. I have a $1,500 individual deductible and a $6,000 every year payment. So before they pay 100%, I gotta come up with $6,000. This stuff right here is gonna take care of that big time for you. All right. So let's talk about getting sick first, and then we'll talk about getting hurt. All right? Now, this is an accident and sickness policy. So for the minute, forget about the accident. Let's just talk about being sick. All right? So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, Dan. You're running 102 fever. You're throwing up your shoes, and you decide to go to the emergency room. We're going to pay you $200. And I will bet you that that $200 is more than what it's going to cost you to go to the emergency room anyway. Let's say it's the flu, okay? We're going to give you $165 a day every day that you're admitted into the hospital. Now, that's an unlimited benefit. It's about $4,700 a month. And you know what, Dan? Every penny that we pay you is tax-free, money in your pocket. You can use that money any way you want. Let's say you have to have a medically necessary colonoscopy. You notice that there's a benefit here for outpatient surgery. There's a major surgery benefit and a minor surgery benefit. Well, the difference between a major surgery and a minor surgery is not what they do. It's where they do it. So if it's in the hospital operating room, or if it's an ambulatory surgery center, that's a major surgery. We're going to pay you $2,000 for that. It's in the doctor's office, or if it's in the ER, that's a minor surgery. That's $200. So an example of a major surgery would be a medically necessary colonoscopy done in the hospital. You know, if they find a polyp, they pull it out. It's $2,000. Let's say you need a biopsy. You're in the doctor's office. That's $200. Mole removal, maybe even a stitch. This could be a hernia. This could be an appendectomy or a tonsillectomy. As long as it's scheduled, you're in and out of the hospital the same day, that's $2,000. Now, the important money, the big money on this policy really is the intensive care benefit. Because this policy is going to pay you, Dan, $1,250 per day, every day you're in the hospital, in the ICU. On top of the $165 you're getting for being in the hospital anyway. So you're looking at $1,415 a day. It's a huge amount of money, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You know what, if you had a heart attack, well look, let's talk about me. I'm 58 years old, all right? If I have a heart attack and it doesn't kill me, I'm going to be in the ICU for 3 weeks, right? That's that's $1,415 a day, every day I'm in the ICU. And then I might be in the hospital for another week or two after that, and that's $165 a day. Huge amount of money.
Huge.
Now, if you get hurt, and you had just this policy, remember I said it's good, better, and best, you get those benefits too. But now let's look what happens if you get hurt, okay? This is an accident-only policy. So when you have this policy ready, this becomes a rider to that. Rider meaning it's additional coverage, right? Now, this policy obviously has 4 benefits, 5 if you count the outpatient surgery as 2. This policy has 21 benefits, okay? It starts with a ride to the hospital in an ambulance. Take an ambulance ride to the hospital, I'm going to put $100 in your pocket, even if the ambulance is free. God forbid you need to be airlifted, it's $500. And once again, your health insurance is paying the doctors, your health insurance is paying the hospitals, we're paying you. Tax-free, cash money in your pocket. Now the ambulance is obviously taken to the emergency room. This policy is going to pay you $100, but this one's going to pay you $200. Now you're getting $300 to put your big toe in the emergency room door. Sound good so far?
So far.
Right? Every time you go to the ER because you get hurt, they're going to ask you to go see your doctor the next day, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's $25 for 4 visits for follow-up. That's another $100. You slip and fall, you twist your ankle, you need crutches, a walker, a wheelchair, anything to help you get around mobility-wise, it's called an appliance. That's $100. If something hits you in the head and you get a concussion, normally with a married guy, I know you're not married, you like me, you probably bit the bullet on that one too. If my wife would turn around and hit me in the head with a baseball bat and I got a concussion, I'd get paid $100 for that. All right? If you break any bone in your body, except for your fingers or your toes, that's considered a major fracture. And for that, we're going to pay $1,000. And if you break your nose, your toes, your fingers, or even just crack a tooth, we're going to pay you $250. And every time I say crack tooth, I remember that the outpatient surgery benefit on the sickness end, that's oral surgery as well. So that's something to consider too. So that's oral surgery. Now, if you get hurt badly enough to be admitted to the hospital, the accident policy is going to pay you $150. This one's paying $165. Now you're looking at $315 a day every day you're in the hospital. And that's an unlimited benefit. And that, Dan, is over $9,000 a month in your pocket. We're talking real money, aren't we?
Absolutely no money.
If you spent a month in the hospital, we're also going to pay you $100 a day for an equal number of days for you to stay home and get better. Now you're up to $12,000 in that month. If, God forbid, you got hurt that badly, you had to have spent some time in the ICU, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. The first day, this policy is going to pay you $5,000. This policy is going to pay you $1,250 the first day, plus the ambulance ride, plus the emergency room, plus whatever the heck else happens to you. That means on the first day, we're going to pay you something in between $6,850 and $8,000 the first day. But every day that you remain in the ICU, these policies will pay you, ready? $1,765 per day. Dan, I've had customers that had very serious accidents. One guy, I ride a motorcycle. One of my buddies went down very, very bad. Okay, it was a client of mine. He ended up in a coma. He was in the ICU for a month and then spent 2 months in the hospital before they released him. Do the math. He collected well over $100,000 on these 2 policies. What did that do for him? Well, his wife was able to stop working. They didn't miss a beat financially. They could take care of everything. And really, honestly, you don't want it to be that way, but he actually made more money laid up than he would have if he was working. No, you don't want that, but it's nice to know it's there, isn't it? Okay. Let's say you're an idiot like I am. You after Hurricane Sandy, tree went down in my yard. I chopped it up. That was fine, but my girlfriend was watching me, and I picked up the trunk that was way too heavy, and I ended up getting a hernia. What we do for love. Well, anyway, that hernia paid me $3,000. $1,000 on the accident policy and $2,000 on the accident and sickness policy. And you know what? I got paid that within 10 days, and I went back to work in a week. So this policy is not prorated. It's paid up front because it's paying for the surgery. It's not paying as a recovery benefit. And if you're out in the backyard and you're cooking dinner and maybe you're cutting some vegetables and you cut your little finger and you need a stitch, that stitch will pay you $775 just for that stitch. Figure it out. It's $300 for the emergency room, $100 here, $200 here, $250 for the minor surgery on this one, $200 for the minor surgery on the other policy. That's $750 and at least one trip to the doctor to get the stitch looked at, right? $775, and Dan, that's way more than this policy is going to cost you for a whole year. Way more. Use this policy once, and it'll pay for itself for years and years and years. Physical therapy would pay for $250, $25 at 10 visits, $150 for blood. Now this is a really cool benefit. Let's say you're 100 miles away from home. You have an accident. You got to spend the night in the hospital, right? Well, we're already paying you $415 a day every day you're in the hospital. But we're going to add $100 a day for up to a month so that someone from your family can stay with you in the hospital where you're hurt. You don't have to be alone. They don't have to sleep in a chair next to the bed. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Pretty damn good. Every year, we're going to pay you $50 to go for a physical. Now, Dan, you're about the same age as me. That effectively lowers the cost of the policy by $50 a year. That's your PSA test. You know, that's your blood screening. That's a cholesterol test. There's a list of about, I think, a dozen tests that they pay for. And as long as one of those tests is on that, it's $50. It's going to effectively lower the cost of the policy. $300 to transportation benefit. It doesn't happen often, but if you have to be transported 100 miles or more for medically necessary treatment as a result of an accident, we're going to pay you $300 3 times per accident. That's a $900 benefit. Last but not least, we've got a little bit of life insurance. It's accidental death, so it's only going to pay if you die in an accident. But we're going to pay $25,000 to you. Well, you're not getting anything. Actually, you're dead. Your beneficiary is going to get $25,000. If you die in any kind of an accident, doesn't matter what. You know, get hit by lightning, eaten by jaws. I don't care. You know, if you're really not lucky, you die in a plane crash, a train wreck, a bus accident, anything where you're a fare-paying passenger on a regularly scheduled conveyance, going to pay your beneficiary $100,000. If you have a single dismemberment, you lose an arm, a leg, or an eye, going to pay you $10,000. And a double dismemberment is same as the death benefit. We're going to pay you $25,000. But you do have to mail us back the body parts so we know it's a legitimate claim. All right. So now, Dan, you're 58 years old. You say 57?
57.
57 years old. This policy is going to cost you, for everything that we have here. Now, understand there's 2 separate policies. This policy is $15.17. And this policy is $39.65. So you're looking at $54.83, 82 cents a month for everything that I can offer you on these 2 policies. Think about that. $54.82. What is that? $12 and change a week? Right? It's about $12, $13 a week. It's a no-brainer,
It's a
isn't it?
no-brainer. The problem is I just can't afford it.
Look.
I mean, I could afford the 15, 17, but
Dan, what do you do for a living?
I'm a tractor-trailer driver.
All right. Dan, you really can't afford not to do this. And besides that, the fact of the matter is it's not your money that qualifies you, it's your good health. Right now, you qualify for this, okay? Tomorrow, the next day, you may not. So, honestly, that $54.82, that's going to keep a roof over your head. That's going to keep food on the table. And it doesn't matter if you get hurt or if you get sick. And you're a tractor-trailer driver. Can you imagine? I mean, look, how many guys you know have gotten hurt really bad? Quite a few. We're looking at a minimum, if you get hurt, we're talking a minimum, $415 a day, every day in the hospital. I don't know about you, but that's more money than I make in a day, okay? This is going to do it. Let me write it for you. Who would you like your beneficiary to be?
Oh, okay.
Should have resisted a little bit.
No.
Resist a little
Well, I'm
bit.
thinking I did it as a single. I mean, there's not. I should have done it as a family. This way.